Welcome to Mountain Man Explore the Truth. How's everybody doing today or tonight, depending on the time you're listening to the podcast. I hope you guys are doing well, my friends. I'd just like to give a shout out to all my supporters, people starting to connect with the show. I really appreciate your support. Just make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube and hit that bell so you know when an episode is dropped. And on Spotify, just make sure you hit that follow button and rate the show, and you'll know when a show's been dropped on there as well. On other platforms too, like iHeartRadio, Podbean, and so on. You just search those areas where you like to listen to the show, and you might find it there. Today we're going to be welcoming on Donna. Donna is an interesting person, as she's been dealing with these creatures for a long time. She wrote this to me. She says she goes, she lived in Ohio and been seeing these watchers ever since she was 6. And she said her father was a hunter and a trapper and a root digger and grew up in the woods and still lived in the country and spent a lot of time in the woods. And she wrote, Shawnee Decent, might be pronouncing that wrong. Watchers have always been part of my life, and she'd like to share some stories of it. So I'm going to definitely be bringing her on. Excuse me. A little plugged up today. So Donna's first time coming on a podcast is what I think she informed me, and that's what I love bringing on is people like her coming on the show that haven't been on one yet. I'm all about bringing people that have been on other shows, talk about their research, their encounter, and so on, anything. I'm totally cool with bringing people on because it just backs their story up of what they've seen or whatever it is. I don't mind doing that at all, so that's welcome for my show too. So I don't want to, make people think, oh, he's looking for just new, fresh people. No, I'm willing to bring people that's been already on podcast shows and YouTube channels and so on onto my show, and I love hearing everybody's input as a researcher. And on that note, researchers, I used to think a lot of certain things about them, but I'm learning more and more. There's good researchers out there. You just got to ignore the ones who think they know everything. Because when you say you don't know as a researcher, and that's why you're doing it, much respect for you. But for the ones who don't have an open mind to these mind speaking and portals and all these weird things that are going on in the world, well, I think you need to open your mind a little more. I got a little backlash from some researchers, but that's okay. I got some good ones that have been coming on the show. I'm reaching out to some of them right now, and hopefully they'll come on. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little plugged up today. I apologize for that. Anyways, finding people like Donna and Martha that haven't been on shows yet is really awesome, because that's what I'm looking for, because the podcast world is huge. It's getting huge, there's a lot more people looking into this stuff. And there's people will think, oh, I can listen to that stuff on this person's show, but you may have not heard this person on a show yet. So that's why I think it's important that other podcasters are getting involved with this. It's not no competition, because there's plenty of people out there with some weird experience and encounters that need to be put on the show to share their story so they can show the truth. And, that's what's important, right? Not all these big time podcasters are getting everybody on the show because they got a lot on their plate. So people like me and other podcasters are trying to get these people on so they can share their story, because it's important that people hear this. And so I'm saying there's a lot of people out there that haven't been on a show yet. And that's what I'm reaching out to, is a lot of people that haven't been on shows yet to come on and share their encounter and experience or conspiracy theory or whatever you want to bring on the show. I think that's most important, is trying to branch out and get those people on, And of course, if people that have been on podcasts already are welcome to come on my show. I'm not going to say no to them. And I'm going to reach out to those people as well, because I want to bring them on. There's a few I reached out, but I haven't got really too much replies back. They show interest, but they kind of ghost me a little bit. But I get it. They got a lot on their plates. They're on a lot of shows. So I'm a patient man. I'll wait until they're ready. Dang, I'm plugged up. So yeah, today, Donna, I believe I'll be the first podcast that she's been on, and we'll see where it takes us. I'm really interested in hearing what she's got to say. So let's plug into work. If you had an experience, encounter, conspiracy theory, whatever it is, it's welcome to the show. Email me at MountainmanETT@gmail.com. Again, MountainmanETT@gmail.com. or you can message me on Facebook. Look for Blake Botel. I would love to bring you on the show. I'm glad people are starting to reach out, and be sure to check it out on YouTube. Hit subscribe. That's the most important. And the most important thing you can do for the show is share the show. Please share the show. It really does help a lot, guys, to get more guests on the show for you to listen to, and that's what I'm all about, is getting the truth out. So thanks for listening, guys, and thanks for your support, and continue listening. I hope you guys enjoy the show and the way I do it. Mine's just a lay back, relax, let that person talk and tell their stories, and you be the one to judge. You can believe it or not. I believe a good majority of them is telling the truth, and you can feel it when you listen to them. You're like, wow, they're telling the truth. So I definitely believe in my guests, and I want to bring more like that on the show. So I hope you enjoy the show, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be bringing on Donna. Thank you. Today we welcome on Donna. Donna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an honor. I'm glad to have you on. I'm looking forward to what you got to say. Go ahead and tell people about yourself and where you located.
Well, I live in Ohio, and I live in a little small country town. Well, I don't live in town. I live deep in the country. So I don't have a lot of neighbors. I have a 23-acre little farm, and you're about to hear my geese, I think. I have a poultry farm, and I just, I'm older now, and I'm supposed to be retired, but I still work with the veterans and do different things. I grew up being taught to take care of my elders, and even though I'm an elder now, I still do that. So
that's cool. So go ahead and get into what you experienced, what you were telling me earlier. I think it's a good start.
Okay, well, the first time I saw the Watchers, that's what I call them. I don't call them Bigfoot. I call them the Watchers. I'm of Shawnee heritage. I was 6, and my dad was a hunter and a trapper. He dug roots and always went to the hills with him. And on that day, I had went along. We were digging yellow root. And so I sat in the middle of the patch, and Dad, he always wore bib overalls, and he stood up and he took he chewed tobacco, so he had like a plug of tobacco. He took that out and he carried it over, and there was a stump there. He laid it on the stump, and then he's like, "Come on, Duke, let's go." He's like, and of course I'm whining and crying, I don't want to leave, and he's like, "Nah, come on, we're gonna go." So he reached down, caught my hand, and we're walking away. And as we're walking away, I looked back, and by that stump, it was squatted down. I guess I didn't see it because I had sat there for quite a while. And this big, huge black figure stood up. I mean, to me, he looked 8 foot tall. I mean, he looked like a mountain moving. And he reached out and took that tobacco. And, of course, with Dad, I'm scared. And he's like, "No, come on, just calm down. Everything's fine. You just leave them alone. They'll leave you alone." So we went on and walked away, and I seen it, it turned and went back up through, of course, it's on the side of a hill, like a cliff-like, and it went back up that way, and that was my first experience.
Wow.
Of course, over my lifetime, I've had numerous. It's kind of they always interacted with Dad, and he would leave his little gifts, and that was his, he always told me the same thing, just, use your brain, be cautious. It's just like anything out there, there's good and there's bad, just because that one might be good, the next one might not be. So just, mind yourself. But I ran through the woods since at 6, I would run to the barn, jump on my pony with my grandma chasing me, God help me. And I would take off and she'd be trying to chase me down. I had really long hair. It hung below my waist.
Wow.
And she was always trying to she wanted to braid it up. She would braid it. And I would run off. I would just run, jump on, and take off, and come back, cuckleburrs in my hair and sticks and whatever. I was always in the woods. So
that's awesome. So you guys have been living around these creatures for quite a long time, it sounds like.
dad, I'd ask him, I took care of my dad before he passed away. Of course, I was always with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, because the last 2 years of his life, I never left him at all. So we had a lot of time to talk. And I asked him, what was his, when did he first remember seeing them? And he told me, of course, Dad was born in an old log cabin under what we call Buzzard Roost. It's a local place here. And the family owned property there, and there was an old cabin. Well, the cabin burnt down, and they actually turned the old barn into a house, and that's where Dad was born. I have a picture of him sitting on the front porch with his brother and cousin. But he said he remembered his mom. They go to the bathroom. Of course, they didn't have an inside bathroom or anything like that, And he said, he called her ma'am, and he's like, ma'am took me outside, and I went over to the edge, because where they lived was actually like just woods, that they lived in the woods. And he went over to go to the bathroom, and I guess he had sat down, and because she didn't take him all the way to the outhouse, I guess it was nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
And he said there was like this black figure kind of loomed over top of him, he remembered. And my grandmother must have interacted with him too, because he said, I said, well, did she get scared? He's like, no. She come over and looked at it and, held her hands up and said, baby, my baby. And this thing, he described it as, it was huge and black, a dark shape. It just backed away and walked away. But he said that was his first memory of, he's been, of course, he was little. I guess he was so small that his mother picked him up and carried him back into the cabin. So, and over his lifetime, he had saw him and interacted with him, and he taught me, his ways. The marker stones, there was always piles of rocks that marked an area. I grew up on, like I said, I was born by Buzzard Roost, but then we moved when I was like 5 to like a 300-acre farm. But it seemed like wherever Dad was, they was.
Wow.
And then the last 2 years of his life, like I said, I never left him. I actually put a mobile home in my front yard by my house, and I could look out. I had glass window, the whole front was glass because I like being able to. My bedroom was like that too. That's a different story. But I could walk there and look in, and every night he wouldn't go to bed till midnight. He had to watch the news. This was his routine, and he didn't walk very well, so I'd have to go and put him to bed and do all the nightly things, to get him ready. And when I brought him from the farm where he was at, and within a month of me bringing him here, in my yard, because my house sits back against the woods, so I live, I don't live where it's isolated. And I had this huge cedar tree I'd left when I put the home in, because I bought 23 acres of vacant ground. And I came out, and a couple nights before, I'd smelled this horrible smell, because I would leave. I had like big plate glass windows in my bedroom because I like to see the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the old time door with the old time screen door. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's just screen. It's not like a storm door, and just has like one of them little latches, old time little latch. And I would leave that open and open those windows. I didn't need an air conditioner because I have a creek. And, of course, being in the trees, the wind would blow and it would stay cool. So I left that door open. But about 3 days before this night, horrible stench. I was like, oh, my God, did the sewer line break? Did the septic line, because I have a septic, did the septic line break? What is that? And it smelled like a combination of rotten leaves, some really, really bad urine,
Huh.
and but I didn't see anything. I smelled it, And for 3 nights, I smelled that. And then the third night, I thought I saw something like at the edge of the house, because you got to imagine my bedroom. I had a big bedroom, but it's plate glass on 2 sides. Of course, my back wall was against the house. And then on the other side, another big window, and then that door, and even the door had a window in it. So that night I did close my wooden door. I kind of got, and but like I said, on the third night, or after, well, then the fourth night, I went down to put Dad to bed. And I came out. Now, I carry a pistol because I do live in the country, and I have coyotes, I have snakes, a bobcat. Actually, I just faced a bobcat in my barn about a week ago.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't want to leave. So, me and him had some words, but so I carry a gun. I do when I move about outside.
Yeah, you got it.
I got halfway. Yeah, it's I like I said, I grew up with a gun. I grew up shooting, hunting, just like my brothers. But I got halfway to his house, and I smelled that smell again. And I turned around and looked in that big tree. I thought, there's something there. And then I'm thinking, it's a bear. I'm like, oh, my God, because we do have bear here. It's like, there's a bear in my yard. It's standing up. So I don't run, because I've been taught you do not run. So I've kind of just eased on in. I got in the house, and Dad's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, there's a bear out there. He's like, where? And when I opened the door, again, he told me, he's like, just calm down. You leave him alone. He's going to leave you alone. He said, he ain't done nothing but watching. And then it like clicked in my head what he's telling me. And I said, you don't mean they wouldn't come, He's like, they're just watching. It'll be all right. And but he still would make Mom stand in the door. It came every night. Every night. There was one incident, a few months in, and I still don't know what happened, because he would just stand there. I'm assuming it was a male. I never got intimate with him. I never got up, because he was always behind that tree, and I could see him, and that was as close as I'm going.
Yeah.
And it's 3:00 in the morning. I'd put Dad to bed. 3:00 in the morning, these outrageous screams. I mean, it was like nothing. I had never heard that before. It was so loud, it vibrated. And I come out like a dummy. I always, I don't know, I just don't have that fear, I guess. But normally I'll pick up the shotgun. I didn't. I come out barefooted, nightgown, walk all the way down. I have a bridge you got to go over, and walked all the way down the bridge. I had a hog pen there, because when I moved Dad from the farm, he had a little pig left, and I brought her. Of course, then she was probably 400-pound sow, not that little bitty pig I brought home. And I thought something, what in the world? Because I'd seen him, but I never heard them screams. And it was just tearing up Jack. I mean, and it came through. Well, I'm standing there like a dummy, and then I'm like, you know what? Nobody knows you're outside. Don't have a gun, barefooted. Get in the house, you dummy. So I head back up and I go in, but it traveled down, and it literally, now you can imagine pig pen, it's pretty high. Keep that big old, this sow stand up. She's well on 6 foot tall. She's standing up. She's big. She's a big sow. And if she comes up on her hind legs, you got to have a big fence. You just push it over. He stepped over that fence like it was not there.
Wow.
And in the mud, of course it's pig pen because it is muddy. He left his footprints too, like step, gone. He went on down over the bridge. We didn't go over the bridge. He went through the creek, came up, and at the bottom of the property had a chicken coop there. It literally, it didn't kill any chickens, but it was like it was in a rage, and it just knocked it. It just literally just shredded through it. And Dad had, it was a bull mass and a pit bull mix. Old Jake, he was an old dog. I mean, old. And I heard him scream, but I couldn't find, I'm not coming out. I have a British Enfield 303, and I have armor piercing shells if I want to get down and dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And I hesitated. I was like, I'm staying inside, let him go. And he went down. He went on down to have a neighbor, an older lady that lived there at that time. And he went past her house. She called the cops because she scared her. She didn't know what it was. She heard it just screamed. It was like an elephant trumpeting, and I can't even describe these screams. But he traveled on up. My daughter lives about 6 miles from Back a Holler, and it ended up back in the back of her house. But all the way through there, it just slung dogs like they was just toys. And to this day, I don't know what made it mad. I don't know why it was so infuriated, because I've always had quiet, calm, no violence. That is the only violence I ever experienced. And I still don't know why. But, and I'm not even sure that it was mine. It could have been a different one. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Because mine would just stand there. I call them mine. It's kind of a, so, the next night, it was quiet again, and he's standing there. So, whatever happened, it wasn't good, whatever it caused it. But that went on, and like I said, the last 2 years of Dad's life, he would come. I'd find little rocks. There's a lot of artifacts here, like the Native American artifacts, arrowheads, the arrow straightener or something, if you know what that is or not. But it's a round rock, a hole in the middle, and just different little things. And I would just, Dad said, just, like at Thanksgiving time and stuff like that, he told me, he said, you don't have, just take like a big plate out there and set it up there on the edge of the woods. And whatever Dad said, I did. And I would do that, or some apples, or I've kind of changed over now. I do deer hunt and find time. I deer hunt. I hadn't for a few years, but this year the boys go, so I just they will give me stuff, and I'll take some of that back and put it out, different areas, that kind of thing, or stuff from the greenhouse, cabbage, vegetables, just odds and end things. I've noticed that when they get real close, there's like this electrical hum. It will zap you. It'll zap your batteries. But also, over my life, I've figured out that I can communicate with them. I do it mentally.
Oh, like a mind speak, or?
Yes. I can, I know what they're, I can feel like their emotions. I know when they're agitated, or, because then if they're agitated, I become agitated. So I have been schooled, of course, like I said, I'm Shawnee. So part of my learning, from the time I was 12, my learning is you control your emotions.
Well, that's interesting, Donna, because I've been hearing a lot of reports of them, mind speaking with people they connect with. And it seems like it's coming more and more of a thing that I'm hearing about, and I've heard on other shows, and I had Martha talking to me about it, and it's like they could feel a connection with them. It's like they end up getting a trust with you, and that's what it sounds like it's going on with you, because you've been around these creatures for a while.
I can feel them. I see them. They have a shimmer. If they want you to see them, they'll let you see them. If they don't want to be seen, you won't see them. But I feel them. I feel their emotions. They feel mine. So I got to be very careful about not letting myself get, I don't get scared. They don't scare me. I know it sounds crazy. I'm cautious. I'm not. I don't do stupid stuff. But honestly, as long as you don't challenge them or get too close, if you're not, they'll let you know. This is how far you can come, and that's it. The ones I'm seeing now here, of course, there's the dark ones. I've seen the dark, and then the brown, and then this is like a cream color. There's a big one, the old one. That's what I call him. He's like the grandfather, and he's more cream white colored.
Wow.
And he is he's a little more gruff, a little more challenging. But I'm not. Back in the summertime, there's actually a group that comes here, the Night Stalkers. They come investigate sometimes, and I'm friends with them, and I'll go out with them in the nighttime sometimes. But
that is
they
awesome.
Had did calls. So. Yeah, they had did some calls, and I don't know if it made them mad, or because I'm used to. I have a greenhouse, and it sits back in against the woods, and I'll go back there. I play flute music. I just take my little CD player back there, and I play the music, drums, the flutes, that kind of stuff, and I'll just sit there. And but that night I'd walk back because I could hear them up in the woods, and they were carrying on pretty good. And I got to the greenhouse, and of course we've been working back a red tiller and stuff, and I had like some buckets, and them little igloo coolers, the little red ones with white top. I'm sure you've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
They're small.
Oh yeah.
I had walked back there. Now this is probably 11 o'clock at night, and I still had on my work clothes. I had on a skirt, tennis shoes. I'm just gonna walk back, because I'll do that. And I get up there. Now once I pass my barn, I'm in pitch black, and I only have my phone. I didn't have no flashlight or nothing, because it's always. I get to my greenhouse, and flying around through there is that cooler. Of course, it hits me. It hits me in the hip, which I went down. I'll tell you, it was a force to be reckoned with. And now I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? Because it's tearing. Actually, I sent you. I don't know if it came through good or not, but the scream.
Oh yeah, I heard it loud and clear, and that was amazing. I was like, "Whoa!" And with your permission, I'd like to share it in the show.
That was from that night.
Wow, really?
Yes, that was from that night. There was trees breaking, branches,
wow.
And I'm 62, so I'm healthy. I hike. I can hike 10 miles.
I was about to say you're doing amazing. And it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you take care of yourself, you can go for a long time getting out there.
I've had an active life, but that night,
yeah.
Let me tell you, I think I peed my pants. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm thinking, when you get, like I said, I've been taught to control myself and not get scared, but I just got hit, and this thing is in front of me screaming right in the woods in front.
Yeah.
And this is, I give you my hand to God. This is the God's truth. This big thing. And there's another one comes from the side. I call him my protector. And he comes, and he's smaller. He's smaller. He's not near as big as that big one. He came flying through there, and he attacked him. He just literally, they came together, and that gave me my opportunity, because I got the heck out of there. I got back to the barn where the lights were. I have a gun hid in the barn, not that it would have touched either one of them, that it would not have harmed them, I'm telling you.
That is amazing.
I have I got back in the house, and I ain't gonna lie, I peed my pants. I ain't gonna lie about it.
Hearing a scream like that, the one you showed me, I was like, whoa.
Uh,
Doesn't sound like you just got watchers. It sounds like you got protectors too.
that I don't know if the one was not. I call them mine. It's like I can talk to you, and I know your voice after I talk to you a couple times. I'll recognize your voice. You put you in a crowd, I hear you talking, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear them, I know them. I know their calls. I know their voice. I can, like when we are out or whatever, I know who is mine and who's a stranger.
Wow.
People that are like, what? I don't talk about it a lot because people think you're nuts.
No, that's amazing. It's nothing nuts about it. It's definitely a real thing, and that's why I'm doing the show, because it's like, it's very important to know the truth. But the most thing I tell people too, off air, I usually don't say it on here, but if you got a place where you're having a connection with these things and they're not a threat, don't give out too much information where you're at, so that way they don't mess with the thing. And I know you probably already know that. So I always told people off air, don't show or where you're researching or have a connection with these things, because you don't want people coming in, chasing them away, or something bad happening to these things, you know?
That's my thing, is to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like, they're my family. I'm part of them, and they're part of me.
It's amazing.
And there is good ones, and there are bad ones, just like in human beings.
That's the way I look at it, too. I believe some of them are bad and some of them are good. I hear a lot of bad things about the red hair ones. And I don't know if they're all like that, but every time I hear about a reddish hair Sasquatch, they said it's always been a bad experience with those ones.
I get it, like I said, I never had, and honestly, I don't really blame it that night. I think it was mad. I don't think it really was meaning to hit me. I think it was throwing and mad, and I just happened to get in the way. That's kind of the way I look at it. And the night that, that whatever, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it was mine that was doing that, screaming that night. Something had hurt it or made it mad or irritated it. What happened?
Yeah, maybe he was letting it know, this is my area, but move on, Well,
it could have been two fighting. I have seen that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I have like two big giant deers here that are like 12 points.
Oh, wow.
And I heard they were right here across in front of my house, and I heard them fighting. So I walked over there, and they were literally down in the creek. Their horns had locked, and they couldn't get unlocked. And they were literally, down in the creek. They couldn't fight no more. They couldn't breathe. And I'm thinking, please, God, let them come loose, because they're so beautiful. I don't want either one of them to die. And I'm praying that they got loose and went on, that somebody didn't find them. They're, because there is a road, so people can drive by. But I never seen them again. So I always say that prayer, please. I say God, I say Creator. For my Shawnee, like I said, I have both. So in my heart, I think the Creator is God. It's just a different, it's the same thing, different, whatever.
Yeah.
So I
totally agree.
I don't get into the big religious thing.
I don't either. I'm a believer, but I'm not a very religious type person. I don't go to churches. I learn about God on my own time with my own reading and Jesus and all that. I like to learn it all on my own, because the way I feel on churches, I feel like you get mislead and judged, and you shouldn't be having to be judged. That's the Almighty's job to judge you.
Well, that's my dad. My dad didn't go to church, but he had his own belief. He was a very religious man in his own way. And he said, I don't need to go to church to, serve my Creator. And that's the way he taught me. And I don't put put anybody down on whatever they believe.
Exactly. That's the way I am too. It's all about being respectful. That's all.
Right. I can get along with anybody as long as they treat me well. I'll treat them good.
Yeah.
I'm not I usually, I don't have problems that way. So.
Well, I got a question for you, Donna. Did you ever get a good look at these things? Can you tell if they look more human-like in the face or more ape-like? You know anything like that? Seen it?
Yes, I've seen them. I mean,
up close. Huh? Okay.
Like around the eyes, the nose is kind of pushed in.
Okay.
The eyes. Now they have different color eyes.
Really?
What I've seen the black eyes.
Okay.
I've seen yellow eyes.
Wow.
And honestly, I've seen them change.
Have you ever seen them orange at all, by any chance?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Have you ever seen them look kind of orange at all?
The eyes?
Yeah.
They change. Yes. I don't know if I could say it was like a deep orange or anything, but they do change. It's like, I don't know if it's emotional wise or the other thing I can tell you is their fur, when they don't want to be seen, they shimmer. It's like they step out. I experienced this back in the summertime with the Night Stalker group. One of the guys saw one for the first time, and he was quite impressed and kind of horrified at the same time, I think.
Wow.
But I'm used to it. So the coloring, but their face, it's like skin, but it's like leathery, more. I've seen they don't have like this. They have teeth. Of course, they are bigger, I've not seen them like snarling fangs type thing. I've not seen that.
Kind of like more human-like teeth?
Yeah, the hands, the hair on the back, the palms are more smooth.
Okay.
They're not like hairy, the hair comes down, but the palm of the hand, which I've seen some massive hands.
Wow.
They're smooth. And I know people have asked me this before about their genitals. I was like, yeah, you can tell male from female. You know which is which.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I don't dwell on that part. Back in the early spring, I was actually, I will take different elderly people to the store and stuff, and I came out really early, and I was going up the road past my house, and I got to the top of this hill. You get there, and it kind of goes down, and a doe deer comes flying. There's like a little bank, well, probably 10-foot bank, probably out of the woods. Because I'm when I say I'm in the woods, I'm in the woods. I drive out, and it comes flying down over there. It did not go down there. It jumped out in front of my car, and it splayed out all four legs, just, splat. And I'm like, oh, my God, did it break its legs? So I stopped the car, and I didn't get out because it was scurrying, and it was terrified. Finally, it pulls itself up on its leg, and it went off to the side of the road. I'm like, okay, well, I might have went 50 feet more, and here's the baby. Same thing, off that bank into the front. I mean, I don't even know how it missed my hood. And I look up. I'm like, something is chasing them, and I look up, and there on the bank above me it's like a juvenile. It might have been 6 foot. And he's mad. He literally has like this piece of a tree stump, and he's got it up, and I'm thinking it's going to throw it through my car. It's going to go through my windshield. And I've got the window down, I'm looking, and it looks down. This sounds so crazy. I know people think I'm nuts. But it looked down, it looked me in the face. It huffed like a teenager getting mad and storming off, threw the log off to the side, turned around, stomped back up through the woods.
Wow.
It was like a dark brown, you know, but it was early morning, but it was chasing them deers is what it was doing. And of course, this location here, there's a lot of activities here. But I'm sure if you have kids or you've seen, you know how a kid is when it's mad.
Oh yeah.
You know, exactly the same, you know, and that, of course, I'm sitting there like, and I start, you know, I put the car back in gear and I'm like, scratch my head and it's like, okay, well, that was interesting. So I came back and got my son later that day, and I told him, I was like, I want to go up here and look around if we see, we'll look for tracks, you know. And sure enough, where it skidded down, like the black dirt was loose, those trees had come down there. And he's like, well, there's the footprints, Mom. So I've found in that area the tree breaks, 10-inch trees, alive trees, are literally snapped like you'd walk through the woods and take your fingers and snap a twig. I actually have a picture. I don't know if I sent it to you or not. But
I'm thinking you did, but I'll have to look back and see. But yeah, you really had some interesting pictures there. I saw that footprint, and it looked like a structure I think you sent me, and I think there was a tree break picture you sent me.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The footprints I found in the creek, and which my son did the casting for me.
Mm-hmm.
He does concrete work, so he's like perfectionist type thing. And when he was helping me work at the greenhouse, I shouldn't say that, but anyway, I was walking around, and then I found it, and he came down, and we took rocks and diverted the water away. That's one picture I sent you. That's the creek that I actually found them in.
Mm-hmm.
And then he used I actually just went to Hobby Lobby and got the plaster Paris stuff, and he did them. He cast them, which I didn't. I was wondering whether the four-toed one is got like a crippled foot, I guess, or whatever. There's only 4 toes.
Yeah, it looked like he had some damaged toes on that creature. It looked like he had some. It looked like the toe was kind of, I think the middle toe. It almost looked like it was facing a different direction. So that one must have been injured.
Yeah, it's about 15 inches long.
Wow.
And then probably almost 6 across. Yeah, it may have been longer than that, you know, bigger, but like I said, it was in the creek. And I have like blue clay, you know, the clay bank, and the sand, and then where it stepped down, it smashed down pretty deep, so it's pretty hefty in weight to leave them. And the other one, I had the other set that was when there was 2 sets, and the other one was around 12 foot or 12 inches, and maybe 4 to 5 inches wide.
Wow.
So it was a little healthier looking.
Definitely sounds like you got a clan hanging around there. So, and it seems like they're comfortable there. You don't have too many neighbors at all then, right?
And I don't have neighbors, and I don't hunt on my property.
Okay.
This year, because of we had the flooding here, and the electric was out for a lot of the elders. So I said, well, I'll hunt this year. Of course, like I said, the boys hunt the deer, and I grind it into hamburger, or, you know, I do it, and then I share it. I give it to whoever I think needs it. Also, I have a poultry farm, so I get about 4 dozen eggs a day, and I don't sell them. I take them to, like, the food pantries. I take them out to the church and give them, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's kind.
There's a story that goes with it. I'm a widow. I lost my husband and youngest son in a car accident.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's been 30 years. You know, it's not been recent, but I've worked my whole life. I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time sometimes because my husband was disabled. And when my husband died, I had $12 to my name. That was it.
Yeah,
and you can
tough.
imagine how emotional everything. But I still had 3 kids to raise. And
Yeah.
but the community, the people showed up in groves. I was totally. My cousin took care of me. My mom, I was just totally shut down. And finally, we got through the funeral, which was horrible. And she tells me, she calls me Donnie. Her name's Judy, and we were first cousins, but she's my sister cousin. We're always together. And she's like, Donnie, you got to do something with this money. And I was like, what money? I don't have any money. She's like, honey, look. And the big brown grocery bags, the old time, like shopping bag, grocery bag.
Oh, yeah.
It's full of money.
Wow.
It was full of money from churches, and it was just like this God sent. So I was like, thank you. I can go pay off the funeral. I still owed $1,800.
That's awesome. That's a blessing right there.
Home. It was a blessing. I said, it's so wonderful. But I go in, and the funeral director, he's like, you don't owe anything. And I was like, yes, I do. He's like, no, honey, not only do you not owe anything, I have money for you. Donations paid it. So this has been 30 years ago, but you can imagine the price of two.
Yeah, that's some kind people right there, and they're becoming more and more rare. But there's a lot of us out there still, and you just got to keep that kindness going.
It was a blessing. So now my play it forward is I take care of people. I help people. I do whatever. That's my contribute. I contribute back that way. So it was just it gave me what I needed to be able to go back to work and go on and survive. So.
Well, Donna, you sound like a tough woman, and you kept staying tough, and that is awesome.
Sometimes gotta learn to kind of, and I look like that with the watchers. They're my family, so I just want to protect them. I do little things for them, but it seems like they're there for me. And as weird as that sounds, if I'm feeling really bad, and I still have my emotional times, so I can head back there, put my flute music on, have a little cot I put there, and I'll just lay down on that cot. One night, I literally was inside there, and it's quiet, and I hear footsteps crunch, 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 and the greenhouse has like the mesh. I have windows up, but I'm closed, but a big hand comes down the side. It just goes down. Nothing violent, just gentle, and it ran his hand down the side of that, like saying, I'm here. So I have a soft spot, and of course, like I said, over my lifetime, I have a million stories I could tell you, but they are here. They're not to be messed with, but
yeah, I think I got a group of them. Maybe not a group. Maybe there's only 3 of them across the canyon from me, and it was kind of an odd thing. My wife heard sounds over there. She couldn't, make out that was any familiar animal. She said it just sounded different. So I showed her some sounds, and she goes, "That's what it sounded like." They're little, scream sounds. And this area happens to be, I know now for a fact, it's a known researcher that goes out there, and I won't say his name because I'm not going to give away his location, but I know where he's looking because I lived out here for a long time. When he told on the show that there was 2 ponds in the area, and it added up, and I said, holy crap, that's across the canyon from me. And I remember seeing whatever I saw go through that clear cut. It was an upright figure. I couldn't confirm it was a Bigfoot, but it definitely was bigger than a human, and it just went through that clear cut nice and smooth and disappeared into the tree line. And then once I heard about that researcher, I was like, oh my God, they're over there. And I've been hearing sounds over there. And then my father-in-law told us stories that he's found structures and weird things over there. He never thought about Bigfoot when he was a kid, when he was running around over in that area. So it's pretty interesting. You there? Oh, yeah, you're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
some of the sounds, which I have here, it's not the screaming and it's not the violent type like what you heard on the recording I sent you. They sing. That's what I call it.
Oh, really?
It's more of a. Of course, you'll get the grunts and the pops, and actually, I picked up a recording of that at a cemetery where I've been working or relocating the cemetery, and actually have a video that I will share with you. But it's like they come at the evening time, from 9 o'clock to, I usually come in around 12 or 1. Sometimes I'll stay up that late. But they have and I call it singing. It's not words, but it's just the sound. And, of course, you'll get that. I'm used to it. There's like an energy wave that hits you. It can give you a headache, put you to sleep. That is the other thing I have figured out. They have the ability to put you to sleep. They do. They have this thing that they can do that will, you'll go to sleep. Or I do. I don't know if it affects everybody that way.
Some kind of frequency sounds they make, or some kind of connection with you, huh? I think it's what they call it, efferent sounds. I can't pronounce the word.
I don't have the technical thing for it. I just know that I know that if I'm upset, they sense my emotion. I can go back there, and it's like, it's peace, and I will. I'll fall asleep. But Dad had said that too. He's like, just use your head about you, but he's like, I actually have 2 of the marker stones in my yard because we're forbidden to touch them or move them. He said they're there for a reason. That marks their territory. That tells them where it's safe. And if anything, you just, you put a gift on it or whatever, but never remove it. Well, I have a younger sister, and after Dad got sick and moved from the farm, she showed up here one night, and she had 2 of those stones. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, was Dad mad. Oh, Dad never got mad. He was a very peaceful, calm, but whew, that night was not good. And I actually had to buy them from her, and I told him, I was like, Dad, I'll just take them back. And he said, you can't. You cannot disturb them and put them back. And I said, what am I supposed to do? He said, just put them out there. He's like, he's here. So we'll just put them here so he knows we're being respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what you want. And I'll have to take a picture of them and send them to you because they have, do you know what egg stone is? It's Shawnee's egg.
Yeah.
Okay. The egg, it's got the round circle in the stone, and then you set that stone egg into that. It's like a ceremonial type thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a charger. You can charge your energy, whatever you're using that way. I do have different Shawnee ceremonies. And but there's 2 of them, and that one, you can't put them in the same spot. I don't know how she removed them because I had set them in the same room, and the neighbor, the closest neighbor I have, she was my best friend, and her husband worked of a night, and she was scared, so she would come and spend the night with me. And we were in the kitchen, and please don't think I'm crazy. I honestly, this is the truth. Through the kitchen has a glass door. Through that door, it was open. There was 2 balls of blue, like 2 big giant blue orbs of fire.
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. I've seen some stuff like that too out here in the tree lines in blue, green, yellow. I don't know. I feel like there's some kind of connection with Bigfoot with those things. I don't know what to make of it.
They shot through the house.
Wow.
Literally through the house, past and out the front door. And they went down right in front of Dad's trailer.
Wow.
So I'm like, we're both standing there with our mouth open, like, did we really see that? did that really happen? And she's like, did you? And I said, yeah, I saw it too. But I might have to keep them physically away from each other. I set them apart, and it's fine. If I put them together, the energy off of them, you would not believe.
That's amazing.
I'm also a dowser. You know what a dowser is,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been taught since I was a child. I was taught to douse. I do ley lines. I don't just look for the well, the water. I do other things. I had in my possession up until 2 years ago, it was the old peach, we called it the peach stick, the limb, that great-great-grandfather doused with. It was always kept in a red bag. It's a thing of honor. I actually wrote a story about it. And I had a fire. My big house burned, so I'm actually moved down closer to the road, where the road is, because Mom and Dad had got sick, and I needed more access to Life Squad. But that's what I was taught to douse with, was that stick, because in them branches is every generation. Because once the first time you use that, it's going to pull blood. It's going to draw blood from your hands because it was so strong. And that was part of the thing, was to mix the blood to the wood.
Interesting.
My rods, in the beginning, when I hold them out, of course I use the copper rods now. I'm using them. And I have to be careful because they're literally like helicopter blades spinning.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen people look at me, but I control them mentally. That's how I do it.
That's amazing. It sounds like you got a gift there, Donna.
There's a lot of rules that goes with it, and one of them is you can't charge somebody to do something. If you sell your gift, that's a gift from whatever, and you can't sell it. Now, if they want to give me a present or something like that, that's fine, but it can't be anything big. It has to be equal or whatever. But mostly it's just to help.
That's amazing.
That's the way I've been taught. So.
Wow. That blows my mind away. I was just sitting there going, wow, because I've heard people talk about this before, and having somebody on my show talk about it, and I'm getting more of the people that think, oh, that's crazy, but no, it's not crazy. I think it's true. So I think people do have gifts, and my gift is just to get in touch with people like you and express your truth, and just to help people understand what's going on with the world. It's a lot more going on than we know. So
I think everybody meets for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that out of the blue I found you or you found me. It's like part of like I said, the Night Stalker group comes here. They actually had an experience, and they have a TV show. It's called Terror in the Woods. It's on like Discovery and that whatever.
They sound familiar. I think I might have checked out their stuff before. I'll have to connect with them. And
well, Mike Miller is still doing it. Mike Feltner, he retired this year, just a few months, or last month, I guess.
Well, if you ever contact or talk with him, send him my way. I wouldn't mind having him on and talk about his past on it.
I actually, one of the group members, Cody Pauly, he's a young feller.
Okay.
And I had told him I was coming on your show, and he's like, well, give me his information. Because he's he's a young guy. He's like 26.
Perfect.
But he's been active since he was 16. He comes out, and he's a terrific little guy.
I'd love to have him on.
And I told him, I sent him your information. I can recommend him. He's absolutely, I think the world of him. He's kind of like my grandkid or whatever. But
that's awesome. That's what I love about getting in touch with people like yourself. They start to get a connection, and you're just easy to talk to, and And that's what I want to keep my show as, a, more of a comfortable, make my guests feel comfortable talking about their experience and whatever it is, it's welcome to the show. And it's nobody's going to be judged here. It's just me listening. If people are going to judge, well, that's their opinion. They can keep it to themselves or move on,
That's me. I don't. It's to each their own. I don't care what anybody does, as long as they don't involve me in any way or bother me in any way.
Yeah, I've been attacked a couple times by some people that think they know every single thing that's going on with these things. Some researchers that I talked with on my show are been amazing. I mean, I'm found some good researchers that have an open mind. But the ones that don't have an open mind are the ones that like to just say, oh, no, it's this way. It's only this way, and it's only going to be this way. And it's like, how do you know? Nobody really knows. People like yourself do.
I've been challenged myself because, even with the group, they use the calls, which is fine for them. I don't have to do that to contact. I can, when I go out with them, they usually set up. They'll set up by the car, they get their chairs and sit there, and I'll walk out into the darkness by myself.
Yeah.
And I contact that way, and some of the other people that had been with them, they like my way. So that, they're like, what are you doing? And I show them. And like that one night when, Mike, this Miller, he saw, the first time he saw one of these, it was back in the summer, and he came up out of the chair, and then he's like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? He's like, it's literally right there. And I was like, yeah, just be calm. We had 8 around us that night. And, they weren't violent. It stayed calm. I worked very hard. Like I said, I feel their emotions. They feel mine. And it was my group. So I had that contact where I did have that little bit of control, but once they get into a state, there's no stopping them. If if they want to do whatever, they can do it. But they had some pretty amazing things that night. A couple of them, seen things that they had never saw before, and so they were looking at me, and I was like, just stay calm. That's the trick. Stay calm. But, boy, tell you, the next day, I was drained like you would have pulled a plug, and it will mess with my emotions. So all that I hold down can explode, so I say. So the next day, I had some emotions, but, I got it straightened out. It took a little bit. I can't say it wasn't very draining, but it can get. I just had to go to sleep.
Yeah, get well rested and start all over the next day, huh?
I didn't get in until it was around like 4 a.m.
Oh wow, yeah, you had to get some rest for sure. So. Do you think these things are more, I hate calling them things. Some people like calling them Sasquatch and Bigfoot, and I do like the term of Sasquatch, but I use Bigfoot as well.
Right.
And do you think they're only active at nighttime in the morning, or are they active all day on certain times? It all depends.
I have seen them at all times of the day.
Okay.
Like I said, digging roots. I dig. I haven't for a while, but with my dad, Dad did all the time because that's part of his. That's part of his living. He would dig ginseng and all the roots, and we shipped them, or we had a local buyer that came, and that was just part of life and part of. I was 9 months pregnant with my oldest son, and I was in the woods digging a big patch of yellow root, and I was by myself. Game warden comes around, he looks at me, and he's like, "Dear God in heaven, you're pregnant." I was like, "Tell me something I don't know." He said, "You can't do that." I had like the 50-pound old grain sacks, like the burlap sacks. That's why I would put the roots in and carry it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You can't do that." I said, "I'm on my own property. I can do what I want to do." It's like, come on. He carried my bag all the way Lord, you can't do that. Like, it's funny,
That
to
is
him,
funny.
it was like, oh my God. Mm.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Donna, I don't know if you got more that you want to share, or do you want to do, because you said you had a lot of stuff. So I'm thinking I might have to bring you back for a part 2 if you're interested.
Anytime it's like I am sitting in my living room, but it's like talking to an old friend.
Yeah.
So I just, anytime, feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to. Like I said, I have a lot. Just about 2 weeks ago, I actually saw what they're speculating was a dog man.
Oh, dog man, huh? I've been hearing, that's the thing too, is that I've had a couple of dog man encounters on my show. You'll have to go back and look. One's called Matt Eames. He had a dog man encounter, and it was pretty insane one, and it definitely had me on tipping my chair, going, "Whoa!" I hope I said his last name right. He's got an interesting last name, but yeah, his was a pretty intense one, and I don't know what to make of these things.
Well, we had did a 6-mile hike. There's me and 2 other women, and normal day, laughing, joking. There was a big hollow tree. We got inside it. We just had a good time. And we were coming back, and there was some hunters there in the blinds or up in the trees. And come on. I actually found a quarter laying in the path. It was a bicentennial quarter. I was like, wow, that's weird. So I picked it up and stuck it in my bag. And we come out, and about a mile before we got to the end of the trail where we had to go out, I look up, and I was like, what is that? Is that a turkey? Because it's like this big black blob. And the other girl, she takes out her phone, and she has a pretty good phone. She's like, yeah, I can't see them but a big black blob. So we're walking and looking. Now I carry a 380, and I had 2 spare clips. And so she's looking, and I said, I'm going to get a stick. Well, I walk with a stick, and I was like, don't worry about it. She's like, you got a gun? It's like, I always have a gun. I just went 6 miles back in the woods.
Yeah.
And so we keep going, and it's like it's tracking back and forth across the trail, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, is that a big dog? And she's like, I hope somebody didn't turn a dog loose and let it run. She's like, I hate it when they do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, what is that? And of course, the farther we go, the more we realize how big this thing is. And, we just keep going and going. And then there was a deer off to the right, a doe. She jumped up and ran off through the woods. I'm watching it still moving. And finally, it just disappeared off to the right. But by this time, it came up. It had a head. I'm thinking it's a German Shepherd. It looked like a German Shepherd head to begin with. And but then I realized this thing is the size of a man. It's huge because we're getting, we're up on it. And it disappeared to the right, and then I've done unzip I carried my gun down I have it in a pouch. And so I done unzipped, and I done popped, I popped the safeties off, and, I got my hand down in there and just kind of nonchalant. I don't even know if the girls knew I did it, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with veterans, so, they kind of, and I grew up with guns. But we get to that spot, and every hair is up, and I feel, it's cold chills. And like I said, I don't get scared. I'm very, I'm cautious, but I've been taught. I've taught to hunt, so I've been taught to keep it, And I don't see anything, It's moved on, so we just kind of hurried on up to the car, and there's the bathrooms there, and the one girl's like, I got to go to the bathroom now. So I'm going to unlock, but how you unlock your car with your key,
Mm-hmm.
and it was dead. The battery in the key was dead. It wouldn't unlock. I had to unlock it by key.
Wow, that's not the first time I heard something like that. That's, wow.
It was, but I don't, can I say that's what it was? I don't know. I can just tell you it was huge. And it had a tail. It was
And
big.
you saw upright, and it had like a German Shepherd head.
It had a German Shepherd head, but when it went to the right, it came up. You know, because it was on fours. It was on fours, back and forth and back and forth. Back and forth. You know, just long strides. And then when it went off, as it went, because this is all woods. We're literally walking a path through the woods, deep woods.
Wow.
And then to get back up to the parking lot, and it was probably maybe 50, 75 feet from, it was literally at the end. There was no way to get around it. You had to go through there. There was no way to get past it except to go through that way.
Wow, that's amazing. I wasn't expecting to hear you have a dog man encounter too. That's wow. You have my jaw dropping to the floor almost there.
Well, that's I've heard of them. I've been taught through Shawnee legend that the dog man will travel with the watchers. They're kind of like they hunt together or whatever. There's an old legend, which I'm sure you don't have time for all that now, but there's an old legend of the dog man, and I actually wrote a story. This was from the 1800s here, Shawnee story that was handed down from my family.
Yeah, let's hear it. I got time for it. So,
well, we had, like I said, it's the 1800s. The Shawnee, the watchers were here, but there's evil and there's good, like everything. And the bad ones were coming, and they were stealing women and children and doing all kind of bad stuff. So they decided they're going to get together. There's a ceremony they do. And we have in this area, there was, it was a women's clan. It's called the Ice Maidens, and they were a fierce warrior group. And they were this, these were women. And so between, of course, we got the old medicine man and then the seer, which is a woman. And they had to put all this together. They say this is where some of the dog men came from, was because the medicine men, they created them to protect, to go out to fight the watchers, to send them back. And there's a case system here. And my dad took me there, oh my gosh, well, 30 years ago probably. And he showed me the entrance to the cave, and he said, at the entrance, you know what an old-time buggy axle is, like the old iron buggy axle.
Mm-hmm.
It's driven. And he said, your great-great-grandpa, he drove that there. That iron is to protect the entrance to the cave. Every 7 years, you're to come here until whoever takes over for you. He said, this is, he told me, he's like, this is my last time. I won't be able to come back again. And you don't have to, slice your hand open, but you do have to put your blood on that iron. It's a marker. It's to protect us. It's to keep them inside that can't come outside, the evil ones in. Like I said, I wrote that story. I'll try to send it to you. It might help you understand a little more.
Oh, yeah.
And but in the meantime, we have the maidens, which are 3. The one walks with the wolves. The wolves comes with her. Then you have the other group that comes, and that's the Panthers. That's the Black Panthers, which we do have here. Have some stories on that one.
I can't wait to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be definitely bringing you back for that, because I've heard stories about that. Like, people say they're not here, and I go, I've been hearing up in Ohio and other areas they are. So.
Yeah, well, like I said, I started my training when I was 12. I've seen a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things. But for this ceremony, unborn panther, it has to walk the spirit world. So for the maiden to go in to fight where she has to fight, her protectors is her wolves, the panther. So it's kind of, some things I can't tell, but some things I can. And together with all of that, along with the other family, the men, they prepared the iron that was driven, and a little ceremonial type thing, but they were Irish. Actually, they were family members generations back of mine. And I have 2 letters from like 1797 that's been handed down to me. I have the originals, of course, put away, protected, but I have copies. And they tell of, the Shawnee. They're coming to move the Shawnee out. They hid. My grandmother was hidden. For each generation, we have the Shawnee comes down through every generation in my family. So I have a bit of a heritage there, but I bet a lot of strange things I've heard, and so yeah, I have ghost stories. I just actually did a thing on a cabin here locally, and I'm planning to go there. I want to go because there's an old legend about they saw the devil there. But if you go back to the 1800s, this is the original one of my family's cabins, and the guy went and brought it tore it down, took everything out, and reconstructed it. Did a wonderful job. It's beautiful. Reconstructed the fireplace back to original like it was. And I just went in about a month ago and did some pictures. And but there's a Shawnee story that goes with it. They say the devil came from the fireplace. But in the 1800s, when my family was living there, it wasn't the devil. Some called it the Wendigo. Others says it was a watcher, an evil watcher. But there's a whole story that goes with that. So
that's amazing.
Different things.
It sounds like you got a lot to tell, and you know what? We're gonna probably just end it around here because I definitely want to bring you back for a part 2 because that sounds like a lot more stuff to dig into, and I've been blown away by all your experience and everything, Donna. So.
Yeah, I could probably stay here for the next 3 or 4 hours and tell you stories and not have them half done.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I try to go as long as I can or as long as the guest wants to go. But then I realized, you know what, these can come into more parts for the show for people to come check out, and you come back with a fresh mind on it again too. So that's amazing.
Anytime.
It's amazing.
Anytime. I've had a wonderful time. Yeah, like I said, it's like, it's like sitting here talking to my brother.
Well, I'm honored having you on and you being comfortable talking to me about it, and that's what it's about, reaching out to people like yourself and being comfortable and staying connected with this stuff because we're all into it, and people like you actually experience it. And I experienced some things through my life, but nothing that close and nothing like what you have. And I mean, I've seen some weird things when I was a kid. I seen some kind of red eye type figure in a basement when I was a kid. I remember that. I've seen lots of orbs, and I possibly saw a Bigfoot, but I'm not 100% sure because I can't, I didn't get it up close. It was across the canyon, so I couldn't really confirm it was a Bigfoot, but it was definitely something big. And I've seen lots of UFOs out here, and I'm the foothills of Mountain Hood in Oregon. If you look that up, you'd be like, whoa, it's pretty crazy woods up here, and there's a lot of crazy stories up in this area. I'm trying to reach out to some of the people around here. That's why I brought up the eyes too, like if they were orange, because there was a guy that had he was hunting and he ran into one of these things and it had reddish hair, and he claimed it looked kind of like a Harry the Henderson type Bigfoot, but it had orange eyes and more human-like in the face. And he said he just felt a dreadness, so he had to back out real slowly because he felt like this thing was going to do something that he didn't want to stick around for, It messed him up. He won't come on the show, though. I don't blame him.
Well, yeah. Here, like I said, he's not quite white. He's more cream-colored, and he's big. He is the old man, and he is huge. And now his eyes are, I don't know that they're orange or they have more of a red.
Yeah, see, that's where I was confused with him because he said it kind of reminded of a you know how the German Shepherds, some of them had that hazel-looking eyes, and he just said it kind of looked like it had a hazelness to the eyes. You could see the black pupil in the middle, but a little bit of tint of orange on where the white would be. So he was like confused what he was looking at, and It just looked at him eye to eye, and he knew, oh, I better get out of here, you know. So it was peeking around a tree at him.
Well, they, like I said, if they want you to see them, you'll see them. But honestly, they can be standing right there, and you're looking at that spot, and you don't see them. They have this ability.
Oh, I believe it.
I call it the shimmer.
Well, I hike a lot, and I've definitely felt like there was been things around me. I just never seen it.
Yeah.
And I've found, I've been keeping on the download. There's an area that I'm looking into right now where he had this sighting because he told me where it was, and he told me, go ahead, check it out. And I went on there on my own, and I had it on easy feeling, and I was like, oh, I'm not going in here alone. I better bring somebody with me next time. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going in there respectful and just, going in there easily and just trying to see if I find anything or see anything. And it's like you said, they'll let me see them when they want to, and I hope someday I do. I think I have seen one, but I can't confirm it. But I definitely would like a close-up experience with these things.
It's always follow your instincts. If you're feeling uncomfortable, then get the heck out of there, because that's what I do. I judge. I can feel their feelings, and it's like everybody else. Everybody, you have bad days, they have bad days. So there's days they're going to be all happy, and the other days they might not be so happy.
Yeah, just like a human.
I've never had like rocks thrown at me, maybe little pebbles, not to hit me, but just kind of like, or acorns. It's kind of like, or I'll get a knock, the tree knock, or a hoop, like whoop, 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 and just, they're not to be messed with. They are to be respected, and honestly, I think if they just want to be left alone and live like we do.
Exactly. With your permission, though, Donna, it's all right if I share that sound at the end of my episode when we're done?
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
People have heard me. I do howls. I have a Shawnee war scream. It's like the la 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 la, that thing. But when I'm outside and I let it go, it vibrates.
Oh, and they probably hear that and they go, oh, our friend.
I did that. I think I scared some people. It's like, my God. It's kind of like a challenge.
Well, I don't know. If I was out in the woods and I heard that, I'd probably be like, what the heck was that? Well, I don't know if you joined my group page on Facebook. You're more than welcome to go in there. I can invite you in there. I'm not sure if you're in there yet.
Okay.
So you can share your pictures and whatever you want in there. So it's a lot of good people there. You can connect with Martha. She's a really cool chick, and Gail. They're really awesome people that I had on the show, and there's a lot of cool people in that group page right now. So.
Alrighty, it sounds wonderful. I've had a wonderful time.
Well, I did too. It's been an honor having you on, and I'm glad I was your first to come on. And if you're ever interested in coming on other shows, there's people I know that are just like me that are just wanting to get your story out and truth, and I'll point you to the direction. Rye is one of my friends, and he's doing pretty well, and he'd be a guy that you wouldn't mind talking with too. He's a really cool dude, and I definitely want to bring you back though for part 2, and who knows, we might have a part 3 because it sounds like you got a lot to say.
Well, anytime, and if you want to, feel free to share me out there. That's fine with me too.
Okay.
I like to talk.
Oh yeah, I do too. I like listening more than talking, to be honest, because I'm learning from you and your experience. But I do try to chat with you as well and ask questions, and for the audience too. And I'm trying to get better at that because sometimes I forget to ask those questions because I'm like, my jaw's dropped. I'm like, whoa. So.
I think you do a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, Donna, we'll definitely bring you back, and I'll stay connected with you. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Well, guys, that was the show. I hope you really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed having Donna on the show. I was blown away by what she had to say. And I'm sure you heard that dog man encounter that she brought on a surprise to us all, because I didn't know about it at all. I knew she had a lot of experience in this thing, in the Watchers of Sasquatch, and and so on, and paranormal stuff. And I was like, wow, she's got a lot of stuff. So I'm definitely going to be bringing her back on for part 2, part 3. Who knows? I got Al, I got Martha probably will come back on, and I got Gail I'll have come back on. And there's a few other people from the past shows I'm going to bring back on too. Like I'm going to connect with another podcaster, which is Rye, Codex of Curiosity. Can't even speak. He's a really cool dude. Check out his show too. He's on YouTube and Spotify and probably a lot more platforms. But let me find this sound for y'all so you can actually hear it. So 1 second, guys. Here's a recording that she just had not too long. I didn't realize that. She said this was a few... I can't remember what day she said it. She might have said it in our interview, but she definitely just shared it. This is recent, so check it out. Hopefully it's not going to blow your eardrum out. Here we go. Wow. What do you guys think of that? I'll play it one more time. I'll turn it up a bit. That was amazing, guys. I had to say is what she said it was. So that was amazing, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. You heard the sounds there, and the show is growing, and I really appreciate your guys' support. Really am honored to have people like herself coming on the show. It's like I said in the beginning, it's to bring fresh, people coming in that feel comfortable with you to talk about their experience. And I'm glad I'm letting them feel that from me as well, because that's what I want them to feel, is comfortable with talking to me about their encounter. So I really hope you guys enjoy the show, and I appreciate your support. The most important thing you can do is share the show. So share it. If you haven't yet, subscribe on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, and comment. Comments help bring it up in the charts. On Spotify, please hit that follow button. And then you'll have to hit a side click there to go to the rate, so you can 5-star or 4-star, whatever stars you want to rate it, and comment on that as well, because that actually helps bring it up in the charts in Spotify as well. I'm not sure how it works on the other platforms. I'm sure you can figure it out on there. So I'm just a small-time podcaster, trying to just do what I love, and this is my calling, and I've always been interested in doing it. What started for me all is listening to past people that's got into this first. So I'll give an example like Sasquatch Chronicles. I really think listening to that show, because that show helped me, go through some tough times in life, because I never thought about listening to podcasts. And then when I listened to that show, I ended up hearing about the confessionals, so I checked that out as well, because you brought them on Sasquatch Chronicles. I really enjoy both those podcast shows, and I still listen to them this very day. It's amazing, and some days maybe I'll be able to bring one of those guys on just to talk, hear about their experience, and I'll have to thank them for motivating people like us to do our own podcasts. And you know what? Do your own style, your own little twist, and that's the way to go. So guys, I really appreciate you checking my show out. I hope you continue listening, and please share the show. If you had any experience or encounters and you want to come on the show, you can email me at mountainmanett@gmail.com. Again, mountainmanett@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. It's not hard to find me on there. Just look for Blake Botel. And the way you spell the last name is Botel. And you'll find me right on there. I'll be even put it on the bottom of the description where you can try to find me. I'll put the email and my name so you can find me. Connect with me, guys. I'd love to bring you on. And once again, I appreciate you. And I really, really, really would appreciate you sharing the show. So until next time, let's explore the truth together. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.